I'm ready.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Off the Bench podcast. I'm your host, Cody Kimberlin, joined by my colleague, Austin Deemer. On today's episode, we're going to discuss the top 10 fantasy running backs for our custom fantasy football league. We have a PPR league. We have 16 teams, and we're going to deep dive today into the top 10 on who we believe will help you win your fantasy league. First up on my list, and our overall consensus number 1 is Christian McCaffrey. He is on an elite offense coming off a bad team and is now on a great team that has more touchdown opportunities, correct? So this could possibly be his best year.
That's it.
Touchdowns. He could have the most touchdowns this season out of any season he's ever had. Uh, Me personally, I have him projected out for 225 carries,
Yeah,
1,300.
he's yeah.
Yeah, 225 carries. It should be easy for him, correct? Like you think that that's a good number?
Yeah, he's my number one guy. I mean he'll share with Debo Samuel, but it'll mainly be him as long as he's healthy. He'll be the workhorse, especially with the faulty quarterback. There's honestly no telling who's gonna be the quarterback. So uh he'll get a lot of touches.
I think from what we've seen with him and Brock Purdy, like I feel safe still drafting him number 1 overall. The only thing that worries me about Christian McCaffrey is the fact that
Absolutely.
Elijah Mitchell could cut into his workload. Not, and it still won't be. And when we say cut into his workload, we're not meaning like, oh wow, this dude's going to only score like 8 points. He's still going to get you 15 or 16 points a week. It's not like going to be some drastic cutoff, but don't expect his 30 and 40 point weeks like you see sometimes with him in the Panthers, because Elijah Mitchell, the weeks that Elijah Mitchell was healthy last year, he was scoring 15 to 16 points instead of those, giant hyper productive weeks, which not saying Elijah Mitchell couldn't get hurt. If he does get hurt, boom, there you go. Like, Christian McCaffrey is going to be the RB1 and wide receiver 2 on that team. So,
Yeah, but yeah, McCaffrey's a lock for double digit points, and then I
mm-hmm.
mean, if
Yep.
they utilize him correctly, I mean, he could go for 30 or 40. I mean,
Yes,
so, you know,
absolutely. Easily. So he's both of our consensus number 1. This is where our list sways a little bit. Um, I
number
am
one.
I'm a believer in young legs. I believe that young legs, it's a young man's position. So my number 2 is Bijan Robinson. And I know that sounds crazy to some people because he's not even played a down in the NFL yet. But listening to what I've seen, he is the number 1 running back prospect since Saquon Barkley. He checks every single box. He's 5'11", 220 pounds, which makes him the prototypical 3-down size. He's not small, so he can take the hits. He runs a 4.46 40, which is completely fast enough for a running back. That's actually faster than most running backs. He's going to a team that ran the ball even when they were losing in the fourth quarter. Like if that team's down by 20 points in the fourth, they're still going to run the ball at least twice every single time they have 4 downs. So I could see him getting 400 touches in his rookie season between his rushing attempts and his pass catching
No.
ability. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, that's a bold statement. I got King Henry at 2, but I mean he's as long as Henry's healthy, I mean biggest running back in the league. He's just a complete workhorse. I mean if he's healthy, he'll have a ridiculous season like he always does. So putting a rookie at 2 is tough.
I
Like
know
that's bold.
that is my
Props to you.
that's my I think that's going to be a game winner for you right there if you get Bijan at 2. But like he said, Derrick Henry at 2 is just an easy. It's just a safe pick in a redraft. It's not like we're playing in a dynasty league. Derrick Henry's touching 30 now, and if
Yep,
you're
yep,
touching 30 for a running back, you're getting old. But
yep.
he's not a normal running back. He's every bit of 6'4", 240 pounds. Like he ain't going down easy. But like I said about Bijan, he's on the number 1 offensive line for
No,
rushing, number
no.
1 rated offensive rushing line. So that to me feels like a safe number 2. But you could go Deemer's route. Deemer's a great fantasy player. He knows his stuff. So I have Bijan statted out for 1,500 rushing yards and 9 rushing touchdowns. That's what I have him statted for, along with 50 receptions and 475.
1,500 in year one. Boy, that's
1,500.
that is rookie of the year, possible MVP talk right there.
You're correct. That is all pro numbers.
I
All
mean,
pro.
that is boy. You know what? I hope it happens for him.
I do too, because it would be great for my fantasy team. We're gonna move on to number 3.
Jeez. All right,
Number
let's
3
go
on my
with
list is Saquon Barkley.
it.
3 on my list is Saquon. So the Giants offense is taking a huge jump forward this year with the additions of Darren Waller and Jalen Hyatt, the receiver that they drafted this year. Both of them are going to help Saquon not see stacked boxes anymore, because Saquon's been seeing stacked boxes the past couple of years because the Giants receiving core has been nothing there. Like there's nobody, Darius Slayton and a hurt Sterling Shepard every single year. So, he's seeing stacked boxes. He's playing on the franchise tag again this year. So this is his first season on the franchise tag. They couldn't get a deal done. They're still working on one. It could happen before the season starts, but they're trying to get the franchise tag. He's got it done already. And you know what that means for running backs. If you're franchise tag, that means that they're going to run you into the ground. They're going to use you all you can, and then they're going to cut you after the season because they don't want to pay those big bucks, because they feel like running back is just a super deep position that you can get a younger player. So for me, that's why I have him all the way at 3, because Saquon's already an elite running back, and he's a true 3-down workhorse in the NFL, which is rare. And the fact that he's on a franchise tag
That's
year,
fair.
does that make sense that they're going to run him until they can't run him anymore, because they're not worried about losing him,
Yeah, he'll definitely get a lot of the workload. I threw Nick Chubb at 3. Uh, Nick Chubb's one of those ones that's he's kind of almost like a boom or bust kind of thing. But when he's boom, he's boom. I mean, he's kind
Absolutely.
of, he's basically the entire Browns offense, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, he'll generally get most of the workload. So, kind of similar to Derrick Henry. I'd say, he gets more receiving, than Henry, but I mean, Saquon's a good pick at 3. I have him a little lower in the list, but I kind of went safe on the 3 pick there with Chubb. It's kind of definitely when you get into the middle of the pack there, 3 through like 7, it's kind of interchangeable. They're kind of all of them are kind of boom or bust. So
Personal opinion players. Absolutely. Moving on to 4, number 4 on my list is Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler
yeah,
last year was the number 1 overall running back, and he has been on a tear over the past 2
Austin
seasons.
Eckler.
Eckler caught over 100 passes last season. It's an absolutely absurd number for a running back, and there has to be regression at some point, and I'm banking on his regression being this year, because he's already done it 2 years in a row, and that's just something that it's unsustainable. So he is a PPR monster, though. Like if you're in a PPR league, Austin Eckler could go as high as 2. Like I could see people taking him second overall behind McCaffrey, based on the fact that he catches that many passes. Like he is a true wide receiver 2 on his
That's
offense.
fair.
He has a great offense. He has Justin Herbert at quarterback. He has Keenan Allen and weapons around them. So he's not going to get stacked boxes again. Only thing that's different about Austin Eckler is he is a smaller back. He's not a Derrick Henry style back. He's a little bitty guy. Like he gets, he's just small, but he is on a top offense, so that that makes it better for him. Who did you have it for, Mr. Deemer?
Yeah, yeah, he's definitely in a top offense. He's one of those ones that could be up there too. I had Josh Jacobs. He is one that's I feel like he's kind of a silent but deadly running back. He's especially with the offense coming in. They lost Darren Waller, new quarterback. I think. They're gonna. He was already a workhorse as it was. Now with a new quarterback, I feel like he'll be utilized a lot more. Uh, so honestly, I think he could go up there. I think this next year he could be one of the top. He could turn into one of the top running backs if he stays healthy. He has been. He's been hit or miss sometimes, but
I
if he
agree.
stays healthy, he'll. He'll definitely be a. Like I said, he's number 4. So, Yeah,
I agree. I mean, he was a top running back at Alabama when he played. He's an old school runner, like he's an old school style running back. And I mean, what did he finish?
three star recruit.
He finished last season in fantasy as the number what, three back, I believe. He was number three overall. I mean, so he has a high ceiling. He has an extremely high ceiling.
Yeah, he was up there. Yeah,
He was high.
and
He
now
was
he
high.
has. I mean, he already had a trash quarterback, and now he has even more trash quarterback. So,
I know that he's on a
so,
horrible,
but
the Raiders aren't the greatest offense. So you can look at that one of two ways when you're drafting a player. You can either say to yourself, this offense is going to be horrible. They're not going to get any kind of, touchdown ceiling that other teams would have. Or you can look at it as he's going to be the entire offense and get a 70% snap share. I'm sure that he'll be on the field at least 70 to 80% of the time compared to whoever his RB2 is this year. Cause I'm not even sure who the RB2 is going to be for the Raiders this season. And
yeah,
then
the only thing that sucks for him is he is going to be probably on the worst team in that division. So, I
yes,
mean, you got the Chiefs, Chargers, and so that's just not going to work. I mean, Broncos, but they're probably going to finish last in the division. But I'm sure he'll have a good year.
yep. Number 5 on my list is the king himself, Derrick Henry.
So, yep, he
Like I
got a
said,
five.
yep, Derrick Henry at 5. He's approaching his 30th, his year 30 season.
Nice.
So his elite production is facing the cutoff for most people, but a lot of people will try to be a year early compared to a year late when they come to drafting their running backs. But like we were talking about earlier, I believe that Derrick Henry is a whole nother level when it compared to everyone else when it comes to age. He's kind of like a Frank Gore, if you want to say. Frank Gore stayed in the league forever, and I feel like that's going to be kind of how Derrick Henry is because of his size and ability to stay healthy. Um, I don't see him slowing down any. Like he's
Yeah,
averaging
he's a freaking
last
monster.
season. Yeah, last season he had 349 carries. This season, I don't see him hitting that much because I feel like he has a little more help in the backfield with the person that they drafted this year. But I still see him touching 300 carries. And last season, he caught the most passes of his career. He had 39 passes or 39 receptions last season. That's the most he's caught. So if you can get another 30 receptions out of Derrick Henry, who you never even think would catch a pass, you're going to look at a top 5 running back again. He's been a top 4 back the past 3 seasons. So I could see him easily being another top 5 running back. Who'd you have at 5, Mr.
Yep,
Deemer?
that's fair. Um, I guess don't have to reiterate much on this one, but Saquon Barkley. I mean, that's you kind of touched on him already, but uh, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory there.
Yeah, absolutely. 6 for me is a new name. 6 on my list is Jonathan Taylor, who's coming off a down year compared to his 2,000-yard, 20 touchdown year that he had. This season, he'll have an upgraded quarterback, which is Anthony Richardson. I think that he's going to be a big help for Jonathan Taylor because it's going to be an extremely run-heavy offense now that Anthony Richardson's there. I think he has a bounce-back season this season and is going to easily have 300 rushing attempts.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it's exactly what I had at my 6. So
This is number
he's
6.
one that literally he could end up being the number one running back he could be number one at the end of the year. I mean, he's yeah, that offense is going to look completely different with Anthony Richardson. I mean, they'll be probably more high powered. Anthony Richardson can roll out and throw the ball. I mean, uh, I think JT will get a lot more receiving yards. I mean, it's just I mean, they could have a really good offense. So
I agree. Number 7 for me, we've already kind of discussed with yours. I had Nick Chubb, who I think is the purest runner in the league. Chubb to me is one of the more consistent fantasy players because you know what you're going to get basically every season with him. You can see him finish as high as 5, I feel like, this season because he doesn't have Kareem Hunt behind him anymore. I don't know if you knew that or not, Mr. Deemer, but Kareem Hunt is no longer going to be stealing any kind of
hmm
rushing
hmm
attention from him. So I have him statted out at 280 attempts and 1,400 yards this season because he's going to be the sole runner, and he is the best runner in the league when it comes to
wait,
pure running back. Who do you have sitting at 7?
Yep. Let's see who I got. I got Mr. Tony Pollard. He is I think he will definitely be he's the guy in Dallas now. I mean, he is I
Yes,
mean, he has the burst of speed. I mean, he just looks like just a raging freaking just a crazy man in the backfield. I mean, the Cowboys offense is already good. I mean, I hate talking good about the Cowboys because you know how that is, but I mean, Tony Pollard's just a freaking he's a grown man. I mean, he is just an athlete. So he's one that, like I said, he's one that could be up there. I think he'll have a great season, probably the best season he's ever had in fantasy. So
I agree. Have him at number 8. Tony Pollard is my number 8. Reason being, as of right now, the Cowboys have not signed another running back to their roster, which could change come season time. Very easily could add somebody like a Dalvin Cook to their roster if they choose to, or even sign Zeke back on a smaller deal. But as of now, Pollard is a clear 3-down back. They still have an above average offensive line. They don't have that kind of offensive line that they used to have a few years ago that was just completely elite, that just dominated everyone, but they still have a top 10 rushing offensive line in the league. His ability to catch the ball out of the backfield to me is
hmm
what separates him in PPR, because his yards after catch was one of the highest out of all running backs. So to me, unless another running back signs with the Cowboys, look for Tony Pollard to finish easily as an RB1. Have him statted out at 260 carries and 1,200 yards, 7
yeah,
touchdowns.
I don't think it's gonna matter. Even if they sign another running back, I think it'll just be a safe thing. I mean, he'll be three down guy.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
I think so too.
like I say, he'll be the guy. So,
Yep, I think he has proven to the owners and Jerry Jones
but
that he can be that man.
all right, we got
Sitting at number 9 for me, I have Dalvin
bye
Cook.
bye Zeke.
Bye bye Zeke. Sitting at 9, I have Dalvin Cook, who the Vikings have just released after not being able to find a trade partner for him. So the Vikings took the year.
Who was your eight?
They took the year early approach on him and cutting him instead of riding out the last 2 or 3 good years he has and paying him more than they want. I saw that he's not looking to sign a $4 or $5 million deal, so he's wanting to get a long-term contract with a team. It's sounding like the team that's most interested in signing him is the Dolphins. So if he goes to the Dolphins, that's going to be a huge upgrade for him. He's going to be on a team with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who is just going to be burning down the field, and Dalvin Cook is going to be bursting through for 20-yard runs left and right, I feel like. So he's still just as explosive. If he does sign with Miami, I'm
Yep.
seeing him sitting at over 200 carries, over 1,000 yards, around 6 to 7 touchdowns. So what do you feel about that?
Boy, jeez. Oof, man. That was your number eight, right?
Number 8. Number 9, actually. He's my number 9.
Okay, cool. Well, we skipped eight, but
Well, my
my
8
eight
was
is
Tony
Aaron
Pollard.
Jones.
Okay.
Uh, oh, okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah, my eight is Aaron Jones. I have uh little thing with AJ Dillon. I drafted him last year and he just laid an absolute goose egg. I mean, he was just trash. Great running back, but no, I mean Aaron Jones their offense is gonna be obviously worse this year without Aaron Rodgers. No one really knows what to expect from Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love will definitely be playing it safe a lot. So I think, Aaron Jones is a, all around back. He'll get receiving yards, he'll run the ball. So I think he'll get, probably 4 or 5 catches a game, if not more.
Okay.
And on top of it, the rushes he'll get. So I mean, the only thing that's going to hurt him is going to be, AJ Dillon in the within like the 5 yard line, 10 5 yard line. That's going to hurt him maybe, but I think, he'll have a big year. So
Aaron Jones was not in my top 10, kind of like Bijan Robinson wasn't in yours. I think Aaron Jones is great. I'm just worried that AJ Dillon's going to cut into his workload too much, as well as Jordan Love. We don't know how he'll be because we haven't seen it yet. I'm sure he's going to be great. Aaron Jones has always been a great PPR back. I don't think it's going to change. So I can respect the fact that you put him in your top 10 and feel comfortable drafting him
yeah,
at least in my top 12. So makes sense. My Let's see.
Yep.
We're on to what? You're number 9 now. That's what we're on.
Yep. My number 9.
My number 9 was Dalvin Cook. So who did you have?
Which I mean, yeah, yeah. I just had Eckler. So,
Okay.
I mean, you know, Eckler, he's obviously there. You kind of touched on him. So, I mean, he could be number 1 on anybody's list. So, but yep, go on with your guy. Who's your
Gotcha.
Mr. Irrelevant?
My Mr. Irrelevant in my top 10. I'm going to go with my home team. I am personally a Bengals fan, and I feel like Joe Mixon, who was the RB11 last year, could easily jump one spot if Joe Burrow takes a leap himself. So, say Joe Burrow takes a leap and ascends into the quarterback gods. I think Joe Mixon is going to be a top 10 running back. He's on a top 3 offense in the NFL. His numbers were down a little bit last season, but Zach Taylor stated in a press conference not too long ago that he has full confidence in his ability to be the lead back. So I believe that Mixon has every ability in the world to be a fringe RB1 right there on the RB10, 11 line. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think you should expect crazy numbers from Joe Mixon because he's on the Bengals and Joe Burrow likes to go 5 wide a lot. Like Joe Burrow is a passing down. He passes 35, 40 times a game. So I think Mixon could touch 200 carries. I don't think he'll hit anything crazy like 300 like Derrick Henry, but I think he could easily get 200 because we have Chris Evans behind him. We don't really have Samaje Perine there still in touches anymore. Samaje Perine got picked up by another team. So I'm looking at 200 carries, 850-ish yards, and 6 touchdowns for Joe, sitting at 10 for me. What about you?
Okay. Yeah, as long as Mixon stays out of trouble. Uh, but yeah, so I mean, I, I have an interchangeable 1 for 10. I have a 10 and I have an honorable mention. So
Okay.
I'm doing a little cheating. Uh, I have Dalvin Cook. So you've already touched on Dalvin Cook. So a
Mm-hmm.
sleeper one, I think that literally could be a top 5 running back would be Ramondre Stevenson for the Patriots. So I mean, he had some big games last year, but he is now the lead back. There's no more worrying about, what Patriot running back to start. I said he is the guy. So, now that he's the guy in New England, I mean, Bill Belichick's going to absolutely just use and abuse him at running back.
I
I mean,
agree.
he's going to be getting, upwards of 20 touches a game, I feel like. So, especially with Mac Jones. Mac Jones isn't like Brady. He's not going to throw, 40 times a game. So, I think Stevenson's going to get, like I said, 20 plus carries. He could get some in the receiving end, but he has a power back. So,
Yeah,
um, I think you see him have a huge jump this year.
I agree. Well, everyone, this is off the bench podcast, top 10 running backs for the 2023 fantasy season. Be looking for this video to come out tomorrow morning. So good morning to y'all on Monday. We're going to try to have another video to you guys by Thursday. Thursday, we're going to try to do our top 10 wide receivers. So be looking forward to that.
Let's
Be
get
sure to
it.
comment below who your top 10 is. If you think that our list is good, be sure to tell us. If you think it's not, let us know that too. I mean, we're open to suggestions. So thank you all for your time. We'll be back on Thursday, boys.